Hi, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to be here tonight. I'm going to tell you about my story. For many years, I didn't have the guts to speak in public about diversity in the media. Even when I had become a familiar face as a prominent news anchor for television and also an interviewer for radio, both national stations, I remained silent. I was afraid. Many times I chose to adapt myself to the situation around me, which usually meant blending into the white system. You know, Darwin's theory is pretty clear about this. It's not the the strongest that will survive, nor the most intelligent. It are the ones that can adapt. And that is exactly what I did to realize my dream, and that was becoming the best presenter and interviewer. By that time, I did not realize yet that by being one of the few colored TV news presenters on a national network, I would become one of the faces of diversity in 2015. A topic that still needs a lot of attention in the media in the Netherlands, because in the media business, this has not been embraced yet. And strange, because there are a lot of benefits you can have if you choose for diversity. To understand where I come from and where my fear started, I'd like to take you back for a moment. I was born out of the love from a black man and a white woman. And when we walked outside together when I was little, people were always staring at us. There were a lot of turning heads when we came by. And this was because a biracial child in that time was pretty unusual. And people reacted differently to this, positive and negative, also within my own family. There was a part of my Surinamese family who let my parents know that they were getting good children, and this meant that we would have softer skin tone, lighter skin tone and softer hair. And also within my Dutch family, they have also mixed feelings about my color. Acceptance had to grow. But luckily there were enough relatives for me on both sides who showed me love and warmth as I was growing up. And some of them were also proud that I was both black and white. I told you about my dream, and that was to become the best presenter and interviewer. And to reach for this dream, there was a long way ahead of me. I was raised in a non-traditional family. My father experienced a great deal of racism when he first came to the Netherlands. This was 1965. He was excluded on the work floor, and he was a strong man, and he was a smart man. But he was frustrated about it. And this was also one of the reasons that he became addicted to hard drugs, heroin, most of my childhood. And my mother, she ended up on welfare. Well, you can probably imagine how horrible it is if you see your strong, smart father battling with hard drugs every day, and all the consequences that came with it. Fortunately, my parents had the strength to rise up out of their own situations. My father stopped taking drugs when I was 22. And my mother, she graduated from medical school at the age of 50. Can you imagine that? I'm so proud of them both. It taught me that every dream can be realized, no matter where you come from. And during those tough times, my brother and I always felt the strength and the power of my parents' love. You don't need money for that. And they both believed fiercely in us. Also, the beautiful side of two strong parts, black and white, melting together. And because of this love I received and their lessons in life, I knew it will be a bumpy road, but diversity will win in the long run. Ladies and gentlemen, a bumpy road it sometimes was indeed. As the daughter of a black father and a white mother, I sadly enough was treated differently, and not because I felt different from the others, but because some people rejected me or treated me differently because of the color of my skin. I remembered the kid in my neighborhood who threw rocks at me because of my color. Or the father of my best friend. When I was a child, he pretended to joke at the lunch table. And he said to me, "Hey, do you wash yourself with poop every day or something?" And then he always laughed so hard. And later, as a 16-year-old, waiting at one of the busiest traffic lights in Amsterdam, this was in the middle of the day, I was called filthy nigger while my bike was attacked. And you know, the worst part of it all was that so many people were waiting for the light to turn green, just like me. And no one did anything to help me. No one. Well, as shocking as this sounds maybe, I still believed diversity would win. Because my dearest friends and family again showed me love and strength and showed me that I was special. And also I believe if I, as a black and white woman, can live in peace within myself, others should also feel the connection. Being different has always been there, also at my work. Some people have cast me aside. After being named #1 at the Colorful 100 list 2015, which is a list of the most influential and colorful Dutch people, I decided to share my experience in the media in public for the first time. Many people have complimented me on my courage these last few days. And that says something about how people feel bringing painful things out in the open. I've also been brought to tears by the many mails I received, like this one. My compliments. I've been subjected to the same treatment and comments at my work. You probably have no idea how your comments have been a great source of support to so many. And to this gentleman, I'd like to say, thank you for sharing your story. And I will also keep on sharing your voice. Because even though I'm speaking up today, after 16 years in the media, we need to be aware of the following. Not everyone dares to speak or wants to speak. And also, not everyone is aware of their part in discrimination, but that doesn't mean that it's not happening. This story is not only about me. The minority is tired of the hurtful jokes regarding their background by the majority. Jokes are only funny if they're funny. And also, people with a different cultural background than the majority want to have an influential part on the workplace. And now it becomes interesting, because the Dutch newspaper NRC Handelsblad has done research and proven recently that the major news editors in the Netherlands have only 3% of journalists with a non-Western background, while that figure in the population of the Netherlands is 11% at least. Look around you, look at the TV guests on TV shows, look at your own position in society and how society is also changing. And you know that something doesn't match up. The media are supposed to reflect the society because it tells society this is what the world looks like. And when you see the diversity numbers, it's clear. We need a fresh eye. Diverse groups of people will bring more creativity and different ways of seeing a problem. We need to take action, and it shows power when you decide to talk about it openly. As a journalist, I stand for the truth. Let us not be scared to talk to each other honestly about color, even when it feels awkward. Some journalists these days have thanked me for my insights and now are aware of their own privileged position, or in some cases also their bias. Like the journalist from another station. I don't know him personally. He mailed me like many people mailed me these days. And he told me, when I heard a black man speaking at a conference recently, I was surprised that a black man could tell such an interesting story with impact. And he was shocked by himself. And I believe this and his vulnerability is part of the solution. And also this, if you want to embrace diversity, don't embrace it last minute during a job interview with all the best intentions. If you want diversity to win, dare to put it right on the agenda. Dare to say, this is what we are going to make happen together. Instead of sighing or rolling your eyes when somebody mentions the word diversity. And that is why it's great that after sharing my story in public, a diversity study group is being created at my work right now. So diversity is winning again. And not only because more people with a different cultural background are speaking up, also because companies that embrace diversity have better economic results. The latest report on Diversity Matters by the McKinsey office says it clear. An increase in ethnic diversity on senior executive teams led to an increase of earnings for companies. But also in politics, there are some really interesting things going on. Look at Canada, where there has been a clear agenda to choose a diverse government, and not only by gender. When the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, was asked why he found this so important, he said, and his answer is very simple, because it's 2015. And he added, I am so pleased to stand before all of you here today to present Canada with a cabinet that looks like Canada. So it's not only the right thing to do, it's also because it benefits everyone. And I think the media should see the benefits as well. In a time where viewers' behavior has been changed dramatically because of the internet, it's wise to do more with diversity. Because if people cannot recognize themselves on their screens or in the stories the broadcasters present, then they will lose interest and find other channels or websites or create their own for that matter. When I was a little girl and I looked in magazines, I did not see me. There were only white women to identify with. And as a result of that, for a long time, I wanted to be a white woman with straight hair. There was no internet then. But if I were a little girl today, I would choose a different channel, and probably a channel abroad. That's the power of freedom on the internet. People need role models. Make them feel acknowledged, because you need one to get one. And in this spirit, I like to share one more example with you. It's about the importance of having more role models. A year ago, I gave a talk about my career. And afterwards, a black young woman stood up in the audience and said with tears in her eyes that I was an example for her. Because by seeing me, she believed that she also could achieve success or be in fact a news anchor. And unfortunately, her mother snapped her out of it, out of her dream, and said, "Forget it, baby, you're way blacker than Diana." And I was so angry with her mother. While I knew that she was only telling this to her daughter to protect her. However, I believe you can never take away the dreams of a child, no matter how hard the outside world is. And if I have learned one thing, it's this: dare to keep on dreaming. Have faith and feel the power and the consequences of your choices. I also had to deal with many obstacles during my career. But I was able to find myself, white and black, together. And I'm so proud of that. And that is why I'm not afraid anymore to speak openly about diversity in the media and beyond. Because I'm both black and white, I truly believe in connection. It's just part of who I am. It's in me. I believe in the Netherlands, a country I love so much. And I love the people in it. The people, black and white, who are tired of the disconnection. And this is why diversity wins. Thank you so much.